As a parent, of course, we never want to bury a child. You can't even imagine it. Friends that come up to you, they look at their children. Mr. Muhammad here. You look at your children and you try to imagine if that happens to your children. Do you realize that your brain will not even let you go there? It will certainly stop you before you go there to really truly imagine what it feels like to hear that your child is dead and you have to carry on this life. For me, this wonderful film that was made by these filmmakers, by Marc and Orlando and all the rest of the filmmakers that helped in this film, this keeps Jordan's spirit alive, his wish alive. It lets you connect with a child that me and Lucia have had since he was like this. You as a parent, when you lose a loved one, you have to speak for your loved one. You have to stand strong. Like Michael Dunn said, where are the parents? Where's the fathers? Michael Dunn, Jordan's father's right here. He's right here. I was asked to come up to New York December 13th to help them lead a Black Lives Matter march. We shut down Broadway for 5.5 hours. Over 50,000 people in New York City, my home, made me so proud because over 60% of the people that marched in Black Lives Matter were white people who brought their kids. And white people in this country, in this city, in this state said, we realize that black lives do matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. And I tell my friends that don't understand the meaning of that we're not saying that white lives don't matter. It's a given. We know that all around the world. We know that white lives matter. We don't have to say that. But in this country, we have to say that people of color are being shot down, shot in the back, chokeholds. I've called Eric Garner's family. Since Jordan died, I had to call and go up to Ferguson and speak to Mike Brown and welcome into the circle of fathers. Since this tragedy, I've gotten a call from Walter Scott in North Charleston, South Carolina, where his son gets gunned down in the back, not resisting arrest, but just because running away while being black. So that's what I do, and that helps Jordan's legacy to make sure that it doesn't happen to any more children, men, or women in this country. Thank you.
When I first was sent the story, it was a Rolling Stone magazine article, and we subsequently went to Jacksonville and Atlanta for a week to meet with and speak with Lucy and Ron. And I think at that time, it was just before the George Zimmerman verdict. And I was just looking at, in this tiny amount of time, 3.5 minutes, it felt like it was the kind of perfect storm of what I felt at that time was racial profiling in that split second, and then access to a gun in the way that Dunn could just reach over into his glove box and pull out the gun. And then these laws that give you the confidence, if you like, to use a weapon. Then we entered filming the trial, which was about 6 months after that. And then as we were in the edit, Ferguson happened, and then many other cases. And now I kind of read that 3.5 minutes in a I guess more evolved way than how I initially saw it. And I think metaphorically that 3.5 minutes could have been the 1.5 seconds that it took for the police to shoot Tamir Rice, or the 4 hours that Michael Brown lay on the floor in Ferguson. And it's strange. I was just arrived last night, and even just in the queue at immigration, CNN was on in the background, and they were discussing the Tamir Rice case. I came here about a month ago, there was another case on the news. I came a month before that, there was another case on the news. And it's we were speaking out, it's horrific that the film resonates, more and more. Since we finished the film, it just continues to kind of have a relationship with all of these other cases. And I think that even though I can I can understand like media pundits saying that none of these cases are connected. I can understand how you can construct a narrative that says none of these cases are connected if you have the political will or the kind of social will to see the world in that way. But for me, the DNA of what happened in that 3.5 minutes, is the same DNA that's occurring over and over again.
The idea for this story came from Manette's son, a young man, young guy out of college who just had read about this and said, this is a story. And it began to grow from there, but it was all about an organic sense of something important that needed to be said. And it wasn't about coming to a conclusion and telling you how to think about it, but realizing the story was powerful enough for you to meditate on it and decide on your own terms. What does it mean to you? Every single one of us, all different, all coming from different places, and believing in the fact that this could transform the way you think about not just your own life, but about these things that are happening in our country, and they're happening over and over. And it could happen to anyone, any one of us. And how do we stop that? How do we do something about it? How do we just stand up and say, no more, if nothing else? And I think the filmmaker and the film itself, and I have to say, Marc and Manette were the ones who were really kind of on the ground shooting the film. And in the edit room thinking about this film. And it was a sense that this could be enough. It needed to be your decision, not us telling you what to think, but your decision to decide you're going to look at this film, you're going to see it, and you're going to know it's speaking to you, and it's going to speak to you in a very particular way, to you. And we felt that that was the strongest way, that this film would be a powerful message to anyone who saw it, and would have a kind of evergreen relationship to each and every one of you. And I think that was always the idea for it. It wasn't to tell you what to think, but giving you an opportunity to think about it on your own terms. And I have to say that for Lucy and Ron, I just appreciate the fact that you allowed us to do it, because I know what you were going through. I remember meeting you that first time. I remember that clearly. But it was no small thing for them and for Marc to decide how they would do this, and how they would not do it in a sense where they're telling you what you need to do, but showing you what is real. And then for you to decide, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to get involved? How's it going to be something that's going to affect what you do, not just now, but the rest of your life? Those are what those moments are about. That's why I told the story, because that's what those moments are really about. What do you do with your life? I don't hurt anybody. I'm not a person who wants to hurt anyone. Even after something like that, I have no desire to hurt anyone. What are you going to do?